right, we'll get started. I know you're still finishing up eating, and that's fine. Go ahead and do so, but we'll go ahead and get started this morning. We've got such a beautiful morning. I ask everybody if they've never had the opportunity just to walk around campus this morning, take a little time this morning after you leave and just take in the sights and the sounds around campus, because this is a very vibrant campus, and if you've never had the opportunity to do that, do so this morning, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes just walking through the campus, because it does have a wonderful, wonderful feel to it. So I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Gray. As an academia and a woman of faith, Sandra Gray began her duties as president of Asbury University in July of 2007. At that time, she brought more than 30 years of experience in higher education, finance, and banking. During Dr. Gray's tenure as president, Asbury University has grown to the size of an international impact. Asbury University has increased its overall enrollment by 18.4% from 2007 to 2011, with significant increases in the School of Graduate and the Professional Studies. Gray received a PhD in Public Administration with a focus on international economics and a master's in Business Administration from the University of Kentucky in 1997 and 1984, respectively. Prior to entering the academia, she worked in the banking and the financial institution throughout Lexington, serving as leadership capacities in both finance, strategic visioning, marketing, and team building. At Asbury University, she is actively involved with students, the faculty, and the administration. She has been a mentor, a counselor, and an advisor. Dr. Gray serves on boards of the Council of Christian Colleges and Universities, the Christian College Consortium, World Gospel Mission, American Association of Presidents of Independent Colleges and Universities, and the Christianity Today. For many reasons, Dr. Gray has participated in and led women's retreats on and off campus regarding faith and prayer. Dr. Gray is an active, involved member of the Centenary United Methodist Church in Lexington. She has served as the chair of the church's finance committee, and she and her husband, Ken, have taught Sunday school class for the married couples. She and Ken, an architect in Lexington, reside in Nicholasville, Kentucky. Dr. Sandra Gray.
Well, that was way too generous of an introduction. I'm still learning, and I'm learning a lot from you folks. Thank you all for being here today. We really welcome your coming on campus. It's important for us that you come. As the elected officials stood, and we appreciate all of you being here, Harold Rainwater is not here today, and so I am wanting to speak in his absence and say that he had a class to teach or a breakfast to come to. And so he said, I think I'll go to my class. And I said, I appreciate your priorities, Harold, but know that he's here in spirit. And I know that some of you are here for the first time, and so we appreciate your being here. And I'm glad to introduce the chair of Asbury University's board, C.E. Krause. Some of you may know C.E. He grew up in WILMORE, so he could probably tell some stories about this community in days gone by. And yes, if you walk across campus, you're going to feel a lot of energy, and particularly this week and next. This is the last week of class, and so we see seniors that are grinning from ear to ear and a few that are crying as they think about leaving friendships and discovering what the next season is. I saw Dr. Eschelbach, Amanda, on Sunday at church, and she was on our campus on Saturday night, and I thought this was a priceless thing. I said, oh, did you come to our film festival? Because we have a big film festival on Saturday night. And she said, no, I just came and watched the parade. And I said, parade? What do you mean the parade? Well, just all the students dressed up, and it's like prom night for them. And so Amanda was here just watching the parade. We invite you to come back and watch the parade anytime, because we have students that are involved in so much, and we want you to see what they're doing. I have two basically directions I want to go in just the few minutes we have. And one is just to give you a few highlights about where we are and some things that are happening, because it's important for you as our community leaders to know what's happening here. We need each one of you. I look around and see people that are in financial industries, in education, in all kinds, and of course our elected officials that are here, but all kinds of walks of life, and it really does take all of us. And so we depend heavily upon you, and we value our friendship and our partnership together, but we also want to serve you. And I've learned many times of things that our students are doing in serving our community that I was not even aware of. And so it's always good for me to be able to report back to you some things that are happening. We have good statistics in terms of the involvement of our students. We have over 55% of our students that are volunteering in the community on a weekly basis. And for those of you that are looking at budgets, Judge Cassidy and I were just talking about the challenges of all of us that are managing budgets. And so you should know that Asbury University students are contributing about $150,000 a year just in their volunteer work. They spend over 20,000 hours a year in serving our community. One of the things that students are doing I value so much is their involvement at the Providence School, which has moved, and it's just a block up the road from us. And we have students that are there working every week in tutoring and baseball leagues and mentorship to the middle and high school students that are there. This summer, I will make you aware, and something that we do want you to be involved with us, we have a number of camps that take place in the summer. So as you go out, as you exit in the lobby, there are brochures, but there are sports camps. I think we have about 20 sports camps, and these camps are available to from 5-year-olds to high school, all the way through high school. And so if you have children or grandchildren or neighbors that might be interested in sports camps this summer, you might want to check that out. And we also have a number of academic camps that will be taking place this summer. And so there is also a brochure that you can get about our academic camps. We have equine camp, horse camp, and those Harold Rainwater heads up, and I think they're about full, but you might check. Film camps, worship arts, creative writing, an environmental science camp, theater camp, music. So if you're trying to think of things for young people to be involved in, remember Asbury this summer, and these might be programs you'd like to get involved in. Another item that I'd like to point out to you, over the last 6 months, Asbury has been expanding our baseball and softball complex. And one of the things that would perhaps be of interest to you, first of all, come watch our games. We would love to have you come cheer. We've added bleachers, but we've also added lights. And so this is the first time that Asbury's been able to play under the lights. And we want this to be a community baseball field and softball field, and the whole complex there. We're looking to have concerts, to have speakers that would come to use it in ways other than just baseball and softball. And so as you think about events that you might want to be involved in, remember that Asbury has this facility that you can be under the lights and use in the evenings in the summer. Okay, let me tell you just a bit about where we're headed. Saw Jonah Mitchell, there he is. Jonah was in my office 6 or 8 years ago, and we were talking about real estate, and as you might imagine with Jonah, he was commiserating about the state of the real estate market at that time. The real estate had tanked, and so being a former banker and having worked in real estate, I said, Jonah, you all should have seen that coming. But then at the same time, when I was saying that in the real estate market, then I said, oh my goodness, I see some activities and events happening in higher education. We see some things coming. What are we doing to respond to those? And so that was an important pivotal conversation for me, Jonah, in terms of beginning to think, okay, we want to get out on the front end of this and not wait until the bubble bursts, because there is in our conversations some sense of higher education entering into this bubble, and that it's one that may not be sustained. And some of the issues that are contributing to this and that challenge us are, first of all, just the simple access for students to be involved in higher education. Access is more of a challenge, and much of it because of the cost related. And there are also conversations about value added. What value does a higher education, does a college education even contribute? And so we kind of sense this happening, and we are very much in the conversations about trying to, because we do value higher ed tremendously, and so we're wanting to be out front on that and to look at what's happening within our industry and not just get caught having to react to it later. One of the things that our board did just in our March board meeting was to establish a task force for us to look at growth and sustainability. We care about growing, and we are still in the growth mode. We appreciated Sam's comments about our growth. We are continuing to try to increase our enrollment. We are on track to have 2,000 by the year 2015. And so we do want to grow, and so growth is important, but it's not just in terms of the numbers of our students, but it's the type of influence and impact that we know that our students make on the world. And so we want to increase our numbers because we want to increase the influence and the impact. So the board has established a growth and sustainability task force, and we're really going to be rolling our sleeves up and digging in and trying to discover what it means for us in terms of being out in front and leading the change and being a part of the shaping and the culture of the reshaping of higher ed, and not just end up having to respond to it. So it's an opportunity for us. We embrace the opportunity. We also realize the challenges that come in higher ed in these days. But we're very committed to our mission. Our mission is to prepare our young people, or students of all ages, and actually we do have a wide range now. Asbury spans from the academy, from high school students all the way to rank 1, which is the level beyond a master's in education. So we've got a wide range of programs and a wide range of ages. But we're committed to our mission and are wanting our graduates to truly make an impact in their communities and to make contributions in the community and in their family and in their home and church. So we care very deeply about the mission, and that's what drives us, really. I would just say we are on mission. As a part of our mission, then, we look forward, and we are looking, anticipating what the years ahead will bring. And Asbury, for the first time, has developed what we're referring to as a comprehensive campaign. And so we are in the silent phase of a campaign now. There's much conversation taking place on campus and within some other circles, but we are looking to a comprehensive campaign, which means we've developed a vision that is a 20-year vision. Rather than just considering, well, what building do we want to build next? We've looked at what's needed for the next 20 years to try to position the institution in a way that we can move within the changes in this industry. And this 20-year vision is broken into 4 phases. And so we're looking most intently at the first phase, which is the first 5 years of the next 20, and what we want to do during this next phase. So this first phase of our 20-year vision will include a new STEM building. We're referring to it as STEM. You hear STEM often in the media, science, technology, engineering, and math. Asbury has its own STEM program, and it doesn't quite follow the STEM that you're used to. Our STEM is science, theology, entrepreneurialism, and the M is an M squared, math and management. And so what we're wanting to do in our STEM program is to expand our science program significantly. We are including business in this program. We want all of our programs to be infused with faith, with our values and our faith position, and that's the T for theology, that we infuse all that we do with our faith. But the E is for entrepreneurialism, and we want our graduates to really wrestle with and to understand what it means to be entrepreneurial, to think entrepreneurially, because that means that we want to think in terms of creativity and innovation and problem solving. And we need a number of graduates that are fitting that model. So Asbury's next first phase of the 20-year vision is to build a collaborative learning center that will house our STEM program. And so we're going to bring these programs together. And I can tell you that's pretty unique in higher education. What you typically see in higher education are what we often refer to as silos. You'll have, the science program working in its area, and then you'll have math and English and literature and history, and you have all of the programs that are kind of operating within their own discipline. And Asbury is wanting to bring a real deep sense of integration, of cross-integration and communication between several programs. And so we're going to bring business and science and math together under the same roof. They'll all be doing what they need to do within their discipline, but they will be learning about each other's and will be working collaboratively in terms of developing not only the vocabulary for all of their programs, but figuring out how to do things together. For example, one of the expansions that we're going to have in the STEM program in the Collaborative Learning Center is that we want to be preparing health professionals to be administrators, not just preparing for the health profession itself, but there's a great need for leadership and administrators within the healthcare fields. And so we want our business students learning and preparing and considering being healthcare administrators, and we want our science students learning how to balance checkbooks and how to allocate resources and do the important kinds of things that come out of finance and economics study. So in this first phase of the campaign, we're just giving you a little bit of heads up about what's coming. We will anticipate building a new building, but we will also, so it will include bricks and mortar, but it's much more than bricks and mortar. In fact, we will have as few bricks and mortar as we can and still accomplish our objectives for the program. It's really not about buildings. It's about programs, and it's about the development of our students. And so this first phase will include the building, but it will also include expansion of the personnel, of faculty and staff that are needed to help us accomplish our dreams for this program. It will include programming money, and it will also include endowment money. I mentioned at the beginning that one of the greatest challenges we have is as it relates to access of students and cost. And so as Asbury is able to increase our endowment, then it enables us to better fund and support students as they come. Some of you were at a luncheon a few months ago when we hosted the chamber to talk about our MBA program. We have now established a School of Business. It's been named. It's the Howard Dayton School of Business. We just had that celebration when did we have that celebration? Recently. And naming our school, and Dr. Mike Kane is the dean of that school. But out of the business school, we will be beginning an MBA program, but it's not the MBA program as usual. It's not kind of a Me Too program that you see many others doing. It's going to be quite unique in the structure of this MBA program. We'll include a high level of external business partners working along with us. It will involve a high level of mentoring and internships so that students can be learning and practicing at the same time. So we encourage you to watch for that program. Some of you might even be interested in the MBA program. Then finally, in the STEM program, as we think about business and science being housed together in the same facility, we'll have math there as well, because math is a very important support to both of those programs. So that gives you just a bit of a flavor about what's coming next on Asbury's campus. So I will stop with that and ask if there might be one or two questions that you would have, just of any type that would relate to the university. Any questions I could answer for you? Again, I thank you all. Maybe another important statistic is to tell you another way we contribute to the economy of Jessamine County and Central Kentucky is that a number of our students who come from out of state end up staying in Jessamine County or Central Kentucky. So there's a tremendous intellectual capital that we are contributing. In fact, we know that about 16% of our non-Kentucky students end up staying in Kentucky. And so that says much about you all, because you make this an attractive place for them to stay and to live and to grow.
Dr. Gray mentioned the Olympics were in Russia recently.
Oh, yeah.
Your students went there.
Yeah.
Any exciting stories coming from Russia?
Some of you may not be aware that Asbury is involved with the Olympics every year. We are the only university in the world that is invited to be involved in every Olympics program. Give credit to Dean Jim Owens, who started this program, and his whole team. But we go to every Summer Olympics and to the Winter Olympics, and we've done this for the last 20 years. And so, yes, we were just in Sochi. We have already contracted to go to Rio for the next Summer Olympics, and so they're even preparing for that now. The interesting thing, just to show you how important our faith is to us, the interesting thing about Sochi, that was the one Olympics since I've been in this role that I just really felt a heavier burden for that. I mean, the security issues and all that we saw in the news about what's happening in Sochi, and is this going to be a safe place? And I had a few parents call and say, you really think it's safe for my daughter to go to Sochi? And so anyway, they did go, and we had about 40 students that went, and they are workers. They are paid workers, and they do all kinds of broadcasting and camera shooting and pulling lines, and they work at every venue at the Olympics. But I was very eager for them to get home. I was glad for them to go, but I just really couldn't sleep really soundly at night until I knew they were all home. And so after they got back, I asked Jim Owens, our dean, I said, so how did things go? And we actually had an opportunity. They spoke with our board in March to tell about their experiences there. But it was interesting. Jim said, you know, this is the very first Olympics in 20 years that we did not have a student end up in the hospital. And we'd have students, they get dehydrated or food poisoning or sprained ankles and the kinds of things that happen when you work all the time. I mean, nothing serious, but I didn't even know we'd had students in the hospital every Olympics. But he said this was the very first Olympics that we didn't even end up having to make a hospital run or an emergency run with any of our students. And I thought, oh my goodness, yeah, I understand that. You know, the prayer covering was so great. I think we had many, many more people that were praying over them. And so it was just a reminder to me that we don't walk in fear of the kinds of news reports and those things that could cause us anxiety, but we certainly do want to bathe our students and our employees and our initiatives in prayer. So that was a great experience, and to hear the students tell about their experiences there. It was interesting too when we asked Jim, you know, what was the most important thing that the supervisors of our students said, and he said, oh, they loved Asbury students, and repeatedly 3 things they kept saying over and over is they show up on time, they work hard, and they show up sober. So those were their top commendations for our students. So those aren't bad characteristics for employees, are they? Show up on time, work hard, and show up sober. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to, before we leave really quick, I'd like to announce we had a special actually award given to the Chamber this past week, and Amy Cloud, our CEO, was given the Chamber Executive of the Year. Very great event through the KCCE, and I'd just like to thank her for all the work that she does, the hard work throughout the county that she does for both Nicholasville and Wilmore, and just give her a special hand. In addition to that, they also had several other awards that were given to the Chamber, growth awards, and there was also a website award and the newsletter. So there are great things that are happening with our Chamber. If you're not a member of the Chamber, we'd love to have you be a part of the Chamber. We need you to be a part of the Chamber. You know, it just says a lot for our community to have a Chamber that's so very vibrant. It's out there. It's doing a lot of work for the business community. And just be a part of it. Get your hands dirty and get involved. So I'd like to thank you all for having us out. And again, if you have an opportunity, walk through the campus. We have two, actually. So go across the street and go to the seminary. It's just a real good experience if you've never had the opportunity to just walk around these campuses. And it's a pretty morning. It's lit up a little bit. So thank you all so much. Appreciate your time. Thank you all.